Good morning, brew tubers. Cliff here coming at you from sunny Kentucky, and I am back after a very long hiatus. A very long hiatus from brewing, and today we're going to be making a brewer's best Scotch ale. It has been a very long time since I've done any extract. Well, it's been a very long time since I've done any brewing at all. I've been out of the country for an entire year. I have not brewed any beer. I've barely actually drank any beer at all this year. And but now I am back, and I am super excited to do this this really simple extract recipe from a Brewer's Best kit, which I always really enjoy brewing Brewer's Best kits. They're easy, they're fun, and they make just fantastic beer. So I chose the Scottish ale for a few reasons, because Scottish ale is one of my favorite beer styles. I have an all-grain recipe that I make, quite often when I'm brewing regularly. That is just fantastic. It's a wee heavy. This one is not a wee heavy. This one is one of the lower tier shilling Scotch ales, and really, I just wanted something light. I wanted something light, refreshing, really just sessionable, low ABV, because I don't know about you guys, but nowadays I really prefer lower ABV session beers. I don't really try to get drunk that often, but I do enjoy having a beer and hanging out and talking with my friends and whatnot, and it seems like this would be the perfect beer for that. So, before we get into it, let's go ahead and read the little Brewer's Best blurb. It says, "Our Scottish ale is full of caramel malts, both in the extract and specialty grains. Chocolate malt, roast barley, and a touch of smoked malt bring this full-bodied malty ale to completion." So theoretically, this should be between 1034 and 1038 original gravity, and 1010 and 1014 final gravity. So anywhere between about 3.25 and 3.5% ABV, if my camera will focus, which I don't think it will, because I need to buy a new camera. So I have opted to add 1 more pound of plain extra light DME here, so that'll bump up the ABV a little bit. And also, these Brewer's Best kits, they always come with priming sugar. I don't bottle condition, I use a keg, so I'm going to throw that in. Maybe that'll bump it up just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and have a look at our ingredients here. We have got, for our fermentables, we've got, Brewer's Best Amber malt. This is, I believe, a 3.3 pound can of amber malt. We got that going on. We've got the plain extra light that I opted for. We have Brewer's Best 1 pound amber dry malt extract. For our steeping grains, we are going to have 4 ounces of crushed barley, crushed Cara Munich dark, that's going to be 4 ounces. We are going to have crushed smoked malt, 4 ounces, and crushed black barley, which is going to be 1 ounce. Let me tell you guys, 1 ounce of black barley goes a long way, a really long way. So for our hops, we have half an ounce of El Dorado. I'm assuming that's going to be our 60-minute edition. That is 12.1% alpha acid. And we have 1 ounce of Tettnang, which you cannot go wrong with Tettnang. It is the way to go. And I'm assuming we'll add that at flame out or later on in the boil. We've got our little disposable grain bag here, which is Awesome Possum. And that's going to be about it. We're going to be using our Windsor ale yeast. So, brew tubers, I'm going to go ahead and get to it, and I will catch you on the flip side when we get this whole party started. And here we are. Time to add the steeping grains. Oh, So there we go. Just check that out. Super nice. Super easy peasy. We're going to kind of poke that around for just a second with our brew paddle. Look at that. Look at the brew paddle. So, usually I wouldn't be using a brew paddle for this. I would just use like a regular brew spoon. I'd probably use the Cooper's brew spoon that's been with me since day one, since I began brewing with the Cooper's kits. But, you know, like I said, I literally just got back into the country yesterday, and I don't actually know where all of my brewing stuff is. I don't have, you know, all of my all-grain equipment unpacked yet, so I'm just going to be doing this one really quick, really easy today, just stovetop brewing, easy peasy. And that's how you do it, fellows. You just go ahead and you add your steeping grains. We're going to let these steep for, the instructions say 20 minutes. Not a long time, but that is alright. We're going to let it steep for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back. Alright, brew tubers, we are back, and we are about to add our fermentables. Look at all that goodness. So I actually went ahead and found my my tanks here, my gas tanks, my burner, and this is not the pot that I normally use. It's a smaller one. This one holds 5 gallons completely filled up, so what's in there right now is actually less than 5 gallons, maybe about 4.5. So I'm going to try to kind of top this up at the end, just to make a full 5-gallon batch. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and add our liquid malt extract. Let's go ahead and make it happen. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that. And just since I don't want to be doing, you know, a whole lot of stuff with one hand, I'm going to cut it out here, and I'm going to stir this in and get it all incorporated in there really nice, and I'll come back when we are doing stuff with the dry malt extract. And we are back. I have added all of the DME and the LME, so 3.3 pounds liquid amber, liquid malt extract, 1 pound of dry malt extract, just extra light, and 1 pound of amber dry malt extract. I did that kind of off camera just because, as you can see here, I mean, you guys know what dry malt extract is like. It's just too hard to do with one hand. You know, you gotta have two. I'm anticipating having boil over issues in this pot just because, you know, look at that, it is filled to the brim, so I'm probably gonna have to keep a really close eye on it. I'm gonna have to probably kill the boil, you know, at least once. But you know, that's the way we do it, brew tubers. That's just the way, you know, the beer is made sometimes. We got our burner, and we're looking pretty good to go. I'll go ahead and come back to it when we get to the boil and add our hops. And we have just hit a boil. We have had our hop break, so now it's time to add our first hop addition. Oh no, there we go. El Dorado, 1/2 ounce of El Dorado at 45. Yes, folks, this is a 45-minute boil. 45-minute boil. Coming along nice there. Get all those hop pellets in there. Ah, look at that. Look how awesome that looks. All right, and I'll see you at 45 for our next and last hop addition. All right, and finally, 1 ounce of Tettnang. 3.5% alpha acid at 5 minutes left. Oh, let's drop it on in. And there it goes. And would you look at that? Oh man, this is going to be a good beer. I know it. Alright, brew tubers, I'm going to go ahead and let this kind of finish up. And in about a minute, I'm going to add our wort chiller, and we can start chilling. Alright, and there you have it, brew tubers. The brew day is done. That is it. That is 5 gallons of Scotch ale in the fermenter. So just to kind of give you a little recap of how things went, we went ahead and chilled down our wort, and when I took the final gravity, it was 1050, which is way higher than it should have been. And I looked at how much beer I had actually made, and it turns out I was correct earlier on when I said, you know, that little pot just wasn't big enough for a full 5-gallon brew. So I topped it up with cold water, and the final gravity ended up being 1042, which is, you know, you will definitely note a higher gravity than intended for the Scotch ale, but I did add that extra pound of dry malt extract, and I also did add the priming sugar. So, you know, I can kind of, I think, you know, a lot of that might have come from right there. But we're going to go ahead and let this ferment. We fermented it with Windsor ale yeast, which was the yeast that came with it. So we'll go ahead and ferment this out. We'll put it into secondary in, you know, maybe a week or so when it finishes. We will keg it, we will let it sit in the keg for a minute, and then we will taste it, and I will let you know how that turns out. Cheers. Good morning, brew tubers. We are back in sunny Kentucky. I have gotten all of my equipment here out of storage. Got my keg, which is an older Pinlock keg. Got my CO2 cylinder there. Got my splitter, which will eventually be attached to my keezer once I actually make like a proper keezer. I've got right now I'm just kind of using you know, an old chest freezer with the Johnson box, but pretty soon I'm going to put a collar on it and all that other good stuff. So we have sanitized the keg now. We've got all of our lines sanitized. Everything's good. Everything has been cleaned super well, and we're about to go ahead and take our take our beer and place it into the keg.